I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of a secret. My personal CRM, the personal relationship management tool that I have built for my own personal network, knows my friends better than I do. And here's how I built it and how you can build it as well. It has changed the game as to how I stay in touch with my network, both personally and in my business life. I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it, and I've automated a bunch of different things and have some really cool insights. I'm gonna show you everything in this video right here. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a manager, I'm a leader, I'm a former musician, I'm a former athlete, and on this channel and bring everything that I have learned to help you take yourself to the next level. So hit subscribe, hit that bell, do all the YouTube things, and follow along as we build more content just like this. I use 4 tools to build and interact with this entire CRM, personal relationship management software. And the 3 tools are Airtable, ChatGPT, Telegram, and Make.com. And Make.com helps automate the entire process. So obviously I have blurred out all of the contact information and relevant information because this is all personal data of everybody in my network that I want to keep a relationship going with. So I've blurred out all of their information, but I'll show you the titles here, the headers. So we have first name, we have last name, we have their LinkedIn profile, phone number, address, birthday, location, a couple relationship tags, so whether they're a business connection, potentially an investor, a friend, lawyer, what have you, whatever their relationship is. Then I've got tags if they're a dad, if they're a business owner, if they're just a great connection to have, a mentor. And then I've got my contact frequency, and I'm gonna dig into this a little bit later as to how this works. But the contact frequency is how often do I want to remain in contact with this person. Next, we've got the last contacted date, and this is going to set up certain triggers and automations as it relates to the last contacted date and the contact frequency. You can see a formula here for the next contact date. Then there's notes. So I manually put this in as to, are they a father? What are their kids' names, their spouses' names, all of that kind of stuff. And I put that in there just so I have a reminder. What's really cool about Airtable is it'll also create suggested fields that you should have within your database. And one of them was a priority score. And the formula for that priority score is based off of certain tags, contact frequencies, and it actually rates the priority score of that contact. So my automation system can flag which particular contacts I definitely need to make sure I contact to, and I can have certain reminders set up for that. I have a space for my assistant to add any notes as she deals with interactions with that contact. There's a social summary here. You can have a social media summary automatically done. And then communication history. So this section gets automatically updated every time I interact with the Telegram app, which I'll show you in a little bit. There's some tasks in here, current company, and then the internet research. What's wild is this is baked into Airtable. So I had the LinkedIn URL for each person, their name, and then there's this ability just to hit internet research, and it goes and does it for free. It scrapes the internet. I'd say it's about 75% accurate, just depending on if that individual has multiple names that are similar, or they have an exact match. If it's like John Smith, it's probably not going to find the right John Smith. But if their name is quite unique, like mine, I think I'm the only Brighton Yudi out there. Then it's a little bit easier and a bit more accurate. You can structure your database this way. This is the way I do it. One way that you can interact with Airtable, which I have found really helpful, is using their Omni chat. So you can come into the Omni chat with it like any other AI chatbot, and ask it to do something. So you can ask it to find a contact. You can ask it to update a field. But you can also ask it to create certain formulas and structures so that you can make your database, make your relationship management database the way that you want it. You can customize it the way that you want it. And all doing that with AI and then implementing it with AI instead of doing it manually. So that helps a lot. Now, once you've got the database structured, you can actually build interfaces. So I've already built several interfaces here, and the dashboard's really cool. So you can see how many contacts you have, how many are ready to connect, how many are overdue, how many are having a birthday soon. Next to connect with, these people are who are up on the schedule for me to connect with. And then I just find it interesting, some of the network insights. How many people do I know that are business owners? About 26% of them, so that's interesting to see. And a very similar 38% of the people that I'm connected with, the relationship is typically business. 27 are friends, so that's good to see. And then contact frequency. So most people I'm looking to connect with on a quarterly basis. There's 4 people that I'm looking to connect on a monthly basis, and then there's like every other month and annual. So it's just interesting to see all of that just data making a little bit of sense, which is cool. That's just the dashboard. We can go into the card view, and again, you're not going to be able to see any of the personal data in here, but what you can see is the layout. And what's neat is you're able to see the entire communication history. Now you can just look at the contact like it's a CRM card. You can just pull it up, look through, you can update any of the data fields in there, and it makes it so much easier to interact with your database when it feels more like an interface, which is fantastic. That's the database. That's Airtable. That's primarily where you're going to interact with the relationship management software. So now I'm logged into Make. Make.com is the automation tool that I use in order to connect all of the different apps and the things that I want to engage with as it relates to the relationship management structure. So I'm going to go over to scenarios, go to network development, and this is my folder where I've got all of these different pieces set up. Now, what I'm going to start with is automated message drafts. So you'll recall when I was in the relationship management section here, if I go to card view, you'll see that there is a contact frequency right here, and then there's a last contacted date. Now, what that does is it sets the last time I contacted that person and then uses the cadence within the structure of the next contact frequency and sets a trigger to create an email draft within my Gmail so I can then send that draft. I'm not having to think about creating an email or reaching out or what have you, and it's taking all the context from the communication history, from the notes, in order to develop that outreach message. First, the trigger, what's going to happen is it's going to search the Airtable database for any records within the next contacted date that are this week. And then it's going to iterate all of those results that come up. So we go through each of the results that are needing communication within the next week. And then it's going to send a message to ChatGPT via the API. And here's the message. It says, write a brief reconnection message to first name, last name. Reference these notes as needed. So I've got the notes section, the social summary section, assistant notes, communication history, and internet research. So it's all of the information and data that I've imported into the database about that individual. Keep it personal, casual, yet professional, and keep it under 300 words. Ensure that all of the, typo, outputs are structured in HTML with no paragraph being more than 2 sentences, and you can make sense of the rest. So I'll hit save there. Now, it's going to take it through a router. If there is an email within, like an email address within the contact card, then it'll route it to this top section here, where it's going to write then the subject line, contextual to the message that was written, and then it's going to create a draft in Gmail, and then it's going to send me a Telegram message just saying, hey, there's another message ready for you in the drafts folder to communicate to so-and-so. If they don't have a email within their contact and I only have their phone number, then it's going to send me a Telegram message with a text message draft that I can then copy and update and change. So that is the first automation. It's really taking a lot of the thinking, manual labor out of creating, drafting, thinking about context as it relates to that contact, just to remain in touch with them. And I found it really helpful. 9 times out of 10, I still go into that draft and I make some changes, some updates, some tweaks based on what I really know about them and make it more personal. However, it removes the highest friction point, which is going in, thinking about what to say. And it's then drafting it and remembering that I need to communicate with this person. And it takes all of that guesswork out of it and just allows you to do the best thing that you can do as the human proxy within this process, which is customize it and personalize it to make it a human-human connection. The next automation that I have here is when I add a new contact to the database. When I add a new contact, I meet them at a networking event or something like that, and I get a business card from them. I go into the form section, I add a new contact, and what happens is when a new contact is added, the Airtable is watching for records that have been added. It's messaging the assistant, and what it is saying is something similar to the first time, which is generate a friendly, personal, and professional inviting follow-up email for a new contact I've just met. And then it gives contact. Then I give it an example of a message that I would want to send. So it writes the message here to that new contact. The next step is it creates the subject line, again, contextual to the message that was written, and then it adds it as a draft in my Gmail. So that's the second automation I have. Now, the last automation that I have set up for the relationship management system is probably my favorite, and it was the most frustrating to set up, but it is super cool now that it is set. So what I have here is a Telegram bot that I can communicate to update the records in the database. So the thing that the router is watching out for is whether it's a voice message or a text message. So I can type a message into Telegram or I can speak into my phone. And then it's gonna route that message depending on whether it's text or audio. So if it's an audio message, it comes up here, Telegram downloads the file, shares it with ChatGPT's or OpenAI's Whisper tool, which is its transcription tool. So it creates a transcription here. Then it sends that transcription and I'll pull this up here. It asks it to summarize it. So it says summarize the transcript into a few bullet points. I give it the formatting that I want it to have. Then what we need to do is make sure that the output from the summarization, what we need to do is we need to turn it into JSON. So we needed to turn it into a type of code that Airtable can actually read and understand, and then we can input into Airtable. So we structure it in JSON. We then search the records for the name that I just spoke into my phone. So if I said, update, I had a great meeting with John Smith, the transcription is actually searching for the name, and then it's finding that name, pulling it out, searching for it within the Airtable so that it can then be updated with the information that we've got from our JSON prompt there. So that's super cool. Ultimately, the exact same thing happens via text, just without the Telegram bot downloading the file or transcribing it. It's just taking the pure text that I've put into the message, and it is formatting that, summarizing it, and putting it into the Airtable. That is how I've set up my personal relationship management software. It has been game-changing. It's so freeing to be able to walk out of a meeting, talk to my phone, summarize. It summarizes the notes of the key points that to take away from that, and then automatically I get a reminder to follow up with that person when the time comes. So it simplifies my life. It simplifies my assistant's life as well, because she's not having to manage all of these things as much either. And I'm able to provide a more personalized and build a deeper connection with the people in my life that I want to prioritize. So I hope this helps. I hope you find it interesting. If you want me to go deeper into any of this, just comment below. Or if there's any other tools that or if there's any features that you think I have missed within this system, I also want to know. Leave those in the comments. I always love geeking out and adding things and fixing things and making things better. And this is arguably the little experiment that has made the biggest impact in the personal relationships in my life. So hope this helps. If you like this video and you want to see more in the future, be sure to hit subscribe and I will see you next time.